All right, so this is part two of our montage demo, and what I'm going to be doing is showing you how to bring in a Photoshop montage, collage, and bring it into After Effects, and then animate it using 3D cameras and making 3D objects. So what we're going to do first is I'm going to just open up After Effects, and I'm going to create a new project. You can go to File, New Project also, and I'm then going to go to my After Effects images where I saved my montage. So here it is, pineapple shotgun, and I'm dropping the PSD in. Okay, now this is important. Import what kind? It's going to probably default to footage. You want to change it to composition, retain layer styles, and then editable layer styles is fine, and hit OK. All right. From here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new composition, because as you can see that I have my pineapple folder and my image. This is actually the important stuff in here, so that's what we're going to use. And then over here, I don't have anything up yet, so I'm going to composition, new composition. Leave all the settings alone for now. Just hit OK. And there's my composition. So what I'm going to do next, bring down this folder, and it made that composition in my pineapple layer. So I'm going to just click over here again. My bad, make a new composition. And it's out outside that folder. So I'm going to then take my pineapple folders and drag it down to my composition 1. Okay, now immediately you're going to notice there's a problem. I only see white. That's because I had a background in there, and I probably could have deleted it, and I didn't. So I'm going to click on background, and then I'm just going to hit delete. So now you can see that I have my background on top. So it reordered the layer. So what I'm going to do right now is actually take this layer, drop it down. Right there, I just double clicked on it, so open it up. Take it, drop it down underneath. Okay, there is the rest of my layers. Looks like this one, which is my shotgun, needs to be on top. So I'm going to reorder those and just kind of place them where about they need to go. I'm using my black arrow tool here just to move all these things around. Okay, and the next thing I'm going to do is, this could be something you do in Photoshop. You can also do in here. You can right click and rename these things. So for this one, I'm calling this one shotgun. For this one, I'm calling it pineapple. My third layer, again, if you double click, it'll pop it up. You're going to rename it. Let's go spaceship. And then we have the last one, which is field background. Okay, so we have all these layered up. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to just keyframe some stuff to move around in here. Okay, so I'm going to just go position, and I'm going to turn all these on. So I'm going to say, and we're going to do like a 6-second animation. So at 0, I want my shotgun to be there. By 2 seconds, it's going, By 2 seconds, it's going to have moved here. By 3 seconds, it's going to have moved back. 4 seconds, move back, and maybe moved up, and then maybe also, now I'm changing the scale, but really, I would probably want to keyframe that. So if I hit S and turn on scale, also I could bump that up, and then just moving all these things. So I am keyframing all this. So I'm going to stop there, and let's see what that looks like. So there we go. Shotgun just moving, looking for something to shoot. Okay. All right, so that one's keyframed. Okay, my spaceship. Let's go to the spaceship. All right, at 0, on my spaceship to, actually, I'm going to do 2 keyframes first. So I'm going to drop this down. I'm going to do scale and position. So at 0, it's going to, now I'm clicking on it. I'm going to start shrinking it and hold down shift as I shrink. All right, I'm just going to push that into the background. I'm going to zoom in here a little bit so I can see better. And again, click, hold down shift. Okay. And so that's 0, and then by the time it gets to like 2 seconds, it's going to have, gotten larger. I'm holding down shift as I move it up, and then I'm going to have it come in, and then at this point it's going to come down, and then at this point it's going to have gotten a little bit larger, and then at this point at 6 seconds it's going to come across. And I did not like that. So there, I'm gonna go back to that spaceship, hold down shift. So what you have to do is start moving and then hold down shift. So you can't hold down shift and then start moving. And there we go. I'm just going to have that kind of go off. So let's see what that looks like now. So here's my spaceship coming up. All right, and maybe I also want to keyframe some rotation there. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to turn on rotation. Oops. Go back to 0. Turn on rotation. I'm going to say here, look like this. By the time I get to here, now you can control rotation by just using the slider. So I can rotate it this way. Over here, I can rotate it back. Okay. Or the other way is manually going up to this rotation tool and just clicking and changing it. So you can create as many keyframe points as you want. Okay, let's watch that one. There it goes. Looking good. Okay. And then my pineapple, I'm just gonna have the pineapple like, I don't know, just jump up and down or something. So I'm gonna go over here and just position. So it's 0 pineapple. Oops. Actually, you know what? I like the rotation idea too. Move it down. At 0, look like that. Here, like that. Here, look like that. Here, like that. So I'm just doing a bunch of little movements. Oh, you know what? I'm not, because I didn't open up my rotation. So I'm gonna go turn that on. So I'm gonna go back and do that. Okay, so it's 0. He's like this. You know, quarter of a second in or whatever, half second, 1 second. Just moving these around. So these are just constantly changing. Oops. So really not super labor intensive. I mean, it's kind of, but you know, I'm doing this in like 15 seconds, 20 seconds. Okay. So let's take a look at what this looks like. All right. There's my pineapple moving. And then I also maybe want my pineapple to move up and down. So at 0, he's there. At this point, he's up. At this point, he's down. I don't know why it's a he, but pineapple's he. Make sure you grab the pineapple and not some of those keyframe points that are showing up. Okay, I'm just going to stop there. So there he is. He's going to dance and kind of bounce around in the background. Okay, so now we have this, and we're looking good. So what I'm going to do next is actually I'm just going to collapse these down because we're kind of done animating these for right now, at least. I mean, you can go back and do it later. But what I'm going to do is actually make all these things 3D objects. So I'm going to save this too. So file save, Command S. Call this. All right. And next step is I'm going to go and I'm going to turn on all my 3D boxes here for all these layers. Now, though that thing doesn't show up, this might be off down the bottom left-hand corner. You can see it takes that away. So you want that up. And I'm turning on all these boxes. And I just click in that little black square. This is just kind of like symbolizing that's where the 3D layer, and allows this layer to be manipulated in 3 dimensions. Okay, so now these are 3D layers, but you're not going to see anything right away. The one thing you would see is when you drop down, position now has an X, a Y, and a Z axis to work on. And if you're looking up here at the actual image, okay, the green, and I can just keyframe it again real quick. The green is the Y, red is the X, and blue, watch what happens, is the Z. So Z is actually moving forward and backward, right? And because these are all just in Photoshop layers, it's just moving up and down, you know, and they're just basically going right behind one another. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to back up, okay, and I am going to do something with one of these layers, okay, the field background. What I'm going to do is actually push that background further back. Now, how I'm doing that is clicking on the blue arrow and just pushing it. I'm kind of pulling it forward and it's moving it back. And then what it's doing is actually creating space and depth. And I'm going to show you that in a second. So what I'm going to do next is actually go to Layer, New, and I'm going to go to Camera. Okay. And I'm just going to hit OK. I'm not going to change anything. That camera right here is actually allowing us to view this thing in 3 dimensions. So a couple ways you can do this. On the camera, transform, you have position, orientation, blah, blah, blah. So if I messed with orientation, you can see what it changes, okay? That's just looking up and down, this one, side to side, okay? Now that's a good tool, but the other thing I want to show you is up here is this camera tool. And if you click and hold on there, you're going to see the different options there. Unified camera, orbit, track XY, and then track Z. I usually just hit the letter C to cycle through. So that one is my track Z, forward and backward. That's unified camera. I'm actually going to show you unified camera right now just so you can see the depth that I've created here. And I'm actually going to move the other way. Okay. So what's going on there, and I'm going to actually cycle C to this XY. You can kind of see there that my camera, there's actually space here. So if I rotate, right, and then move it aside, there's space between that background and those images. Now I'm going to undo all this because I want to get back and do something real quick. Because now we understand that there is depth. It's kind of important how you use it. So I'm going to transform this thing again real quick and just send it backward further. Now, the background is backward, but it looks small because it went further back. So what I'm going to do is actually scale it up. Right? And then I'm also going to move some of these other images backwards. So the pineapple, right? Now this would actually involve keyframing. So you may or may not want to do this right away. Actually, yeah. So this is actually going to keyframe the thing. I'm going to pull this thing back, and we're going to have this thing slowly move forward. Let's see what that looks like. Here we go. All right. So now I keyframed all these things that moved before, but you don't have to do that. Okay. You could wait until they are 3D objects, which maybe I should have done. I'm going to push my spaceship back here at 6 seconds so that over time, now let's see what happens. All right. Create some nice depth there. I'm just going to leave the pineapple maybe alone. I don't know. Maybe I'll move the pineapple back a little bit. See what happens here. Right, create some nice illusion of depth. Now, so you can kind of see that illusion of depth already happening to some degree. It looks like because I keyframed my background to move. So that's fine. I actually am just going to turn off the background, I think. Let's see here. I'm actually not going to have any keyframing on that, so it's just going to stay there the whole time. And we're going to create the illusion of moving through space with the camera. So, right now, I must have deleted my camera, so I'm going to go back. My bad. I was undoing stuff. So I'm going to create my camera again, and I'm going to move it to the top. And what I'm going to do here is now mess with, looks like change the scale there or that, is mess with moving this camera through. So I'm going to go to the camera, I'm going to open it up, go to the transform, and then turn on all of these options. Okay. And now I'm going to start keyframing. Actually, I'm going to turn them back off, move my playhead to 0, turn them back on. Okay. The other thing I'm going to do right now is move my work area space over. So this little guy, I'm going to move this guy to like 8 seconds or 7 seconds so that when I play this thing, it only shows that stuff. I'm going to stop it. All right, now I'm going to start messing with my camera. So now my camera, I'm going to use these controls. So at 0, I want it to look like this. Okay, but maybe by the time it gets to here, I want it to have moved down a little bit. And then by the time it gets to here, I'm going to see, which is my zoom, I'm going to pull back, and then I'm going to pull forward, and also start rotating a little bit there. Oops. Okay, now if that becomes an issue, I might, at this point, maybe go to my background and maybe make the background a little bit bigger because you can see it's starting to show, you know, some black space there. So I just want to bring that scale up. And then here, okay, what do I want to have happen? Maybe I want my camera to zoom around. Oops, wrong tool. And then I'll have it C pull back a little bit again, and then just hitting C to toggle. Move over and see what it looks like so far. Now, got that going. Camera's panning through, zooming in on stuff. Kind of showing what's going on in the scene. Okay, here it kind of gets a little bit bland, so maybe I'm going to go C, zoom out again to the max that I can. And then C again. Just kind of tilt around here. And so all I'm doing is controlling that camera view. There's nothing else going on at this point. I'm not really messing with the actual things that are going on there. I'm just kind of playing around with my camera and what potentially I could do with it. So now we're kind of going past the hand, and then boom. Okay, so let's watch this one now. All right, and there we go. And then there is a demo for how to export this, and you're good to go.